In this edition of Pacific Report, it's U.S. Army Japan in the spotlight. First, we talk to Major General James Pascaret about his priorities for Usarj. And next, we travel to Okinawa, where soldiers from around Japan competed to find out who is the best warrior.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Staff Sergeant Mariko Frazee. U.S. Army Japan Commander Major General James Pascaret sat down and discussed his priorities for Usarj.
So U.S. Army Japan, to me, as I describe it to my friends around the Army when I meet with them, is that first, we are the Army component to U.S. Forces Japan, here as a part of the joint team. We are also the Army Forward headquarters of U.S. Army Pacific in Hawaii, and so our lines of authority flow from USARPAC down here to administer the Army here. And probably most importantly, U.S. Army Japan is the bilateral partner of the Japan Ground Self-Defense Force. We work very closely with them to help them realize where they want to be in the future, and we also learn from them on how we can improve our operations here. I came in here pretty open-minded and needing to learn from the people here, the Japanese and the U.S. Soldiers and civilians that were working the issues. It was a very well-led organization before I came here, so there wasn't anything broken. However, there's still much work to be done, and I'm very excited about the opportunity to stay here for another 18 months or so to work closely with our Japanese friends and with the U.S. Army here in Japan. We have 5 allies in the Pacific, the U.S. does. I think Japan is the most critical of those relationships. The alliance between the United States and Japan is the cornerstone for peace and security in the Pacific.
The United States remains committed to the defense of Japan.
The fact that the United States guarantees the security of Japan, and in turn the government of Japan allows the U.S. to base forces here, provides that peace and security in a region that's incredibly dynamic and has these friction points throughout the area. And to be able for the U.S. to be here where the problems are provides that peace, that stability in a region that potentially has, could head in a different direction. On the readiness side, yes, we're going to start and do an EDRI, an emergency deployment readiness exercise. Several of our units will be alerted in the middle of the night and told to you have 24 hours to pack up your gear and move to another part of Japan. Again, it's about being ready today for something that might happen to Korea where they have to fight tonight. We'll also have individual readiness assessments coming up where we will alert the unit, and it's a one-day assessment. Are they individually ready for what the Army asks them to do on a daily basis? They'll take the physical fitness test, no notice. Height and weight, did they step on a scale and does what they weigh equal what the chart says they should? They'll do some CBRN training, which is the ability to put on your mask if there's a chemical attack, and to detect what it is, and certain things that I think we need to be able to do here in Japan. You need to be ready all the time. You're not going to have a big ramp up like you do in the United States, where you train up and you have 6-7 months to get ready to, then we send you off somewhere. No, you must be ready today here in Japan. We will be doing something that will affect the community on the readiness aspect that I talked a little bit ago. One of the requirements we have, based on the threat of North Korea and also of a large natural disaster, significant natural disaster that affects the ability of the safety of our U.S. family members here, that the ambassador could direct that our family members and non-essential civilians need to be evacuated from Japan. We're going to start in practice some of that and train some of that for our civilians here in Japan. And more is coming on that. In March, we'll have an event to start and work that. And then in September, we're going to have a more extensive exercise, what may affect some of our civilians, bring them on board and actually exercise some of the procedures. I've come over the last 18 months to really value what we bring to the Army as a whole here. We set the theater here in Japan for the rest of the Army to come in crisis. And that's what U.S. Army Japan does on a day-to-day basis. And we support not just the Army, we support the joint team here. I think the rest of the world can look at the U.S.-Japan relationship as an example of the need to look forward and learn from history, but not be tied to it.